Guys, beer, sports. Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast of the United States. Over to you, boys.
Everybody, what's good? Guys, Beer Sports back again, season 2, episode 2. Sean and Brad back one more time. Hey, we got some great guests on today. Our friend Reed, a good friend of the show, is back with us, and also our friend Stan from episode way back in the day, episode maybe 2 or 3.
That was episode 7. Yeah.
Golly, man, whatever. Early on, when we were still young bucks, we had Stan on, and so he's back again to talk to us. So, a lot of good content coming. Sean and I just want to thank you for your continued support. It's been a blast getting back into the saddle for season 2 here. Sean, how are you?
I'm great, man. How you doing?
Oh, well, it's good. Good to see your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like in hockey season because your beard's a little fuller and a little less hair product in your hair. So it looks like you're making some moves.
Man, Montreal. So remember I asked that thing there about Montreal playing 2 games. I figured it out. So the first game went into overtime and they didn't finish till 4 a.m.
Oh.
So that's why they had to play again.
How many people were still watching, do you think?
No, I don't think anybody, unless you're like a diehard or you have no job. But yeah, I mean, of course you're going to win one and lose one if you're playing that late into the day.
That's not ideal, right?
That's exactly it. So yeah, no wonder it showed that. But yeah. Hey, Montreal, I feel bad for you. Oh well, everybody.
That's the job, dude. That's the job.
Hey, Flyers, you're so close to the countdown there. The countdown for St. Paddy's Day.
Countdown is on. Yep, it's got to be inside single digits. Flyers. One of the great things about Flyers, and here in Washington, we were able to open up a little bit and sit inside so people can see the countdown again. I was in the other day, still going countdown. We got 4 days till St. Paddy's Day. So Flyers has a big clock in their bar area that counts down to St. Patrick's Day. So big celebration coming. Go see the boys of Flyers. I'm drinking a Poseidon Pilsner. Took it back to my roots today. So thanks to Tony and the boys as always for great service, great beer.
Yeah.
Corner of Highway 20 and Whidbey and Oak Harbor. Go see them. Let them know that you're still around. So
yeah,
thanks to them.
I stopped in at Old Biddy's there. Saw Chris. Chris, thank you, buddy. So we're coming close to St. Paddy's Day. I'm officially going to be shouting this one out. It is the Patrick O'Neill's Irish Red Ale, specifically for St. Paddy's Day. But I also have the Molly Johnson Irish Stout as well that I will probably, because there's only one can of this and the whole growler of that.
Yep.
So if you see the beer, it's all of a sudden turning a little dark. That's what it is. Don't be alarmed. Yeah.
No one's gonna be alarmed because your beer is changing. They're gonna be alarmed for other things. So
rightfully so.
Right and early. Okay, well, with no further ado, we're gonna jump into it. Stan Reed on deck.
Hey everybody. Oh my goodness. So we have the legend, the man himself, Stan Pederick, joining us here. And a good friend here to the podcast, Reed Homer, in here, ex-MMA fighter, always a sailor, definitely an IT guy, looking great. Look at this guy.
You said that. All right.
I know. Hey, Stan.
Tom's already got some backdoor things to say about you, Reed.
It's always side compliments.
Stan, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day to join us here today.
Anytime.
Man.
Reed, also good to see you too, buddy. I know. Sean feels less about it apparently, but it's good to see.
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
I get it, man. Stan's Canadian. I'm not. I get it. He's more excited about Stan than me.
So Stan, last time we talked, we were talking about your career. We were talking about you getting into kickboxing, getting into instructing Krav Maga, some of the mental aspects of self-defense, just being aware and how it just plays on into everyday life. The big thing here I really wanted to get into was being a professional, being that athlete. Do you feel, or do you even, I guess, do you recognize that you were at the top of the pinnacle and it's like, you still have all this knowledge and everything? Do you feel different about I'm trying to find the right words here. Like, do you feel different knowing that you were a champion? Do you feel different when you're walking around the street? Do you feel different as far as knowing that you're a top, you were top line athlete at that point, and you're still in phenomenal shape? How do you feel today about some of these things going forward as an instructor, giving your advice, anything like that? How do you feel today?
Well, I think once you put 50 years into something, I don't care what it is, um, you are going to have some confidence in the way you look at and knowledge, your knowledge, like what I thought of martial arts when I started to now is a complete turnaround, how I look at it. And yeah, you hold yourself in a different way because you know more. I think I always said the guy that puffs up and with a swagger, he's just showing insecurity anyway. He's not sure. That's why he's doing it. Once you know, you don't. And I always said the people that do know, they never do that. They don't want to be. They don't want any problems, or they don't want. It's there. It's like use it. It's like a fire extinguisher. You got one. You're not waiting for the fire. It's just there, And when the fire comes, you bring it out. You're not thinking about it. Where I think when people don't have them, they're always wondering. It's a nagging question. Would it work? Would I be able to do anything if it happened? And I think when you do this long enough, you have a game plan, and you go to that. It's like you guys practice what you practice. It's the same thing in the military.
Yeah.
There's no thought. Once you guys got to go, you got to go. That's it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I'm stealing that one, Stan. And I guess kind of like to piggyback off of Sean's question, right? Like the thing that I always wonder is like, how the hell do you turn it off? Because you're in the gym every day, right? You're in the dojo. You're there working with guys and gals getting ready to fight. I don't know if it's like pheromones or something like that, but whenever you're in that environment, you're in an elevated point and you're just like, I gotta taste some blood. You know what I mean? So how do you get to the point where, are you at that point yet? Because, we're looking at like Tyson and Holyfield, and Tarver's going to fight Frank Mir. Like, we don't know. Tom Brady's winning Super Bowls at 43, so it's like, when do you turn it off? When do you decide it's time to, maybe take the sagely role and just pass on the knowledge and completely say, I'm done competing?
Yeah. Well, you'll know because your body now, your brain will tell your body to do something, and it's 2 steps behind. Yeah. And I remember watching Ali when it was over for Ali. He was saying, I knew what to do. I could see it. I just couldn't react. It was a step behind. And the body, that's what happens. It's not the will not to. As you get older, you're still the same guy. You're just, but the body does not react anymore as fast as it should.
Carburetor is a little more junked up, right? You step on the gas and it just doesn't.
But the mind is sharp, so that's why if you to teach and all that, you know what to do. You're just a step behind. It's so sad.
Last time we talked to you, Stan, you had just canceled the fight that you're getting ready to go for. Are you still thinking that when the world goes back to normal that you would jump back in, or did that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd like to try one more. I'm still sparring with the guys and all that. And, I'm probably working out more right now just because of, this COVID thing. I think right now you want to really keep up your immune system.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not paranoid, but I definitely, why would you want to catch this thing? And I am older, so I've changed. Mostly what I've done now is really watching the foods I eat and supplements and stuff like that. Just looking after myself more. And like I said, I don't understand how the world with this thing out there, how well, I do understand, but what bothers me is most people are going the opposite. They're more on the liquor and
Yeah.
the drugs, and the mental illness is really, yeah, I think right now is a good time for people to really look after themselves,
Well, we're
It would
seeing
be-
both ways, right? There's
yeah, but more the other way, the wrong way though,
Well, yeah, I know a fair amount of people that are going the right way, like you are, and I think
Oh, really?
a little more of that. But there's definitely a sect of people.
Brad Stan's looking directly at me when he says going the wrong way. So
because
No.
it's also because of Sean, because Sean's shoulders are about as wide as his head are, so you can tell that he's starting to narrow in a little bit. So
that's true. Yeah, that is true.
Sean hasn't lifted heavy in a while. You can tell just by looking at him.
I don't lift heavy anymore. I lift now for just reps. That's it.
Everything's lifting heavy with you, Sean. Come on.
I'm a heavy
Be
guy.
modest. Yeah,
It's-
that's what I mean.
We all are. That's-
That head alone.
Let me tell you something. When Stan was training me, okay, nicest guy ever. I think he took pity on me because burpees. I hated burpees. He's like, yeah, don't go all the way down. Just touch it, get back up, right? But like, nobody
all
wanted
his
to,
trophies racking against the glass on the case.
I'm telling you. But nobody wanted to throw some hands with me. And Stan's like, holding the pads and everything. And then the next thing I know, when Stan wants to throw his stuff, I'm taking it, and I'm just like, oh my god, oh my god. Doesn't matter how big you are, you're gonna hurt. You're gonna hurt if somebody knows after so many years of throwing something. It's like that's coming at you.
Yeah, it's how and where and when, right? Because like if he's waiting for you to put a little weight on that lead leg, and then he's gonna chop down. That's how you fight a guy your size, Sean. Just lumberjack routine. That's why the Dutch were great kickboxers, man. They're all lumberjacks out there.
That's
Peter Aerts and Esther Hoost,
Yeah, I was out there. I was out in Amsterdam training with those guys.
Yeah, so what was that like? Because I grew up a huge fan of the Breda contingent, and when I was 16, I actually made a pilgrimage trip out there myself, which I shouldn't have been able to do it. I lied my way through security and stuff like that. I wasn't like old enough to fly on my own, but I did. I kind of like bluffed my way through, and I got out to Holland, and I was staying in kind of like a hostel place, and I was training at Cor Hemmer's gym, and yeah, I was there for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And when I was 16 years old, my parents were pissed because I didn't know how to dial the United States. I had asked the lady at the hostel, and she's like, "Who are you calling?" I'm like, "I'm calling my mom." And she's like, "Where's your mom?" I'm like, "Lowell." And she's like, "Where's Lowell?" I'm like, "Massachusetts." "In Massachusetts." I'm like, "America?" And she's like, "Oh God, all right, this call's on me." So, but yeah, what was it like at that time with those guys?
Well, I was at Mike's gym. That was with Badahari, Gokhan Saki,
Yeah, Gokhan Saki too. Jesus.
Madoff. What they had a whole bunch of guys. They just had a huge bunch of guys from Glory and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it was brutal. It was actually brutal. The Dutch are the largest people, tallest people per capita. Like there was nobody under 6'2". Everybody was 6'6", and they were just monsters. And on the floor, there'd be 100 guys on the floor at one time sparring. And that night, honestly, every night we'd spar, there was at least, I'd say, four or five knockouts a night.
Oh yeah.
wow.
They were just dragging guys off the floor.
Wow.
They don't understand intense controlled execution. They don't understand going 50% or 25%.
It's brutal. It is. And when these guys hit the floor, there's if you're 6'6", boy, you make a lot of noise when you hit the ground. So I was like blown away. Like they fight harder than when you fight. It was like they're just trying to kill each other. And I talked to them a few times. I sit down and talk, and I go, and they're saying, yeah, like North Americans don't. They have a hard time with this. And I said, yeah. Well, I said, what's your shelf life like? Like you go to Thailand, you can put in hundreds of rounds, and everybody's barely touching each other. And then you go with the Dutch, it's the opposite. They just try to try to kill each other.
So I also went to Thailand to train when I was very young, when I was about 17 or
Yeah.
18. And I had a different, my first experience in Thailand was with a Dutch gentleman, Ole Larsen in Ubin.
Yeah.
Had a dojo out there, and it was the same thing as Holland. I was like, because I was like, what the hell, man? Like, how do I escape this?
Yeah.
Like, I was going to bed every night, and they'd hand out the Coke bottles to roll in your shins. I'm like, I was kicking banana trees all day and getting kicked by everybody. I'm like, I'm not rolling this on my legs. Yeah, the Dutch are brilliant. The same thing with the Brazilians in Curitiba there at Shoot the Box. You know what I mean? Like they went 0 to 100 and just beat the ever living bejesus out of each other. And it was like, come fight time. It's like, how does that work? So, and we've seen a couple of guys lately have actually toned down the sparring, even contact sparring in the UFC.
Max
And we've
Holloway.
seen success. Yeah, Max
Holloway
looked great. Don Cerrone was doing that.
Yeah.
Even Dustin Poirier. So what are your thoughts on that, Stan? Like, looking back on your career,
Yeah.
what do you go?
Well, I lean, like when I was young, we didn't know any better. We grow up on Rocky movies, right?
Yeah.
North America. So unless you got a bloody nose, you didn't really work out.
Yeah.
You didn't really spar, right? So that's the mentality. And now I look at it and I go, how many good fighters did we lose
Yeah.
at the gym that could have been something, but got damaged, and as they're learning, and that's not a good way to learn.
No.
I think the Thais have it better, where you could just put in lots of rounds and stuff like that. Who surprises me? Who surprised me was the Cubans.
Yeah.
That little island.
Cuban
puts
boxers,
out the
Cuban
best-
wrestlers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best boxers, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I had no idea, but they put in hundreds of rounds and they're just playing. They just play the whole time. They're like the Thais.
Yeah.
And they're good sized people too. And I thought that's pretty good, because you got a longer shelf life and you're going to learn from your sparring, not from just getting beat down. Once you're damaged, you're damaged. You're never going to be the same,
They compromised. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
spot
Yeah.
you're just gonna end up bleeding in that same spot.
Yeah,
easily.
you're not getting ahead. You're actually just damaging the guy. We have a few guys at our gym right now, just pissed off at them. Every time I'm not around, they get together. I hear about somebody got a concussion. Well,
Jeez.
that's completely stupid.
It's youthful exuberance, Stan. Testosterone is a hell of a drug, right? Like there's nothing quite like it.
And the ego.
The ego. Yeah.
Oh, the ego is the worst.
The ego. That whole thing where you're supposed to leave it at the door. Young guys can't. You punch me, I want to punch you back.
Yeah.
I guess that's a fighting mentality, but you gotta know better. You gotta, if you want to stick around doing this for a long time, this thing, you can't toughen this up. It's
Yeah.
just,
Right.
you're going to damage it,
And that was a heck of a point about the ties too, because like one of the first things I noticed, when I was either Ubon or training at Pattaya City, Cope BP, whatever, kids would be just on the sidewalks, just feather boxing, but they were throwing like roundhouses. You know what I mean? Like landing on the neck, like chopping down on the neck, everything like that, but with no damage whatsoever. It was amazing, that kind of control. I don't even think I could.
That's it.
Sean, next time you're in Lowell, we'll try it. I don't think I could like not take his head off. You know what I mean? Like it's power is easy, but it's the control that
We'll
the
say
TIE
we
fighters
did it.
really have.
We'll say we did it.
No.
there.
I'll come up to
No,
you. Don't worry about
no,
it. Yeah.
no. Oh, very good. Very good.
I'll stand on a platform. Brad, give me 10 fingers and I can chop you in the neck. But yeah, that was one of the most amazing things about it. And you see it in their competition too. In the TIE fighter competition, the control and the precision. And it really does lend a lot to the feather boxing, really just like no damage, just go. It's like a dance,
Things, right?
And
Power
then-
is one thing, but explosion's entirely different. And an explosion is a combination of control and power.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, certain guys like Yoel Romero can explode, and it's like
Yes.
that's a good
Yeah.
technique.
Yeah.
But how many times can you do that in a fight? And how long is his career? Well, Yoel Romero might be older than Stan, as far as we know. The Cubans aren't good at documentation, unfortunately.
I think they're good at documentation. It's just not the correct documentation.
They're good at forging the documentation.
Yeah. What I am wondering here as well, Stan, is like, I mean, besides your storied career as world champion, how does it make you feel when you see other people that you have trained the starting to make it into K1, that's starting to make it into glory. That's going places, you know, you've helped them, you've pushed them to that area, and you've brought them now to that next level. How does that make you feel as a trainer now? You know, like you've transitioned so well into that.
Well, I mean, it always makes you feel good. You're happy to see them make it, and they have dreams. And you know, I got to live mine, so you know, if I can pass that on, yeah, I've got I think I said on the last time I was with you guys that, you know, I've got fighters that have gyms everywhere, like in the States and all across Canada and everything. That they've all opened their own gyms, and they're all doing well. They're doing this for a living. So, you know, they came in just to do a workout. Next thing you know, years later, they're doing this for a living. And yeah, so that's really nice to see, you know.
It's
If you
probably
can live your
a
dream.
ride, but do you find, you know, maybe more satisfaction in watching those guys succeed than you felt with your own exploits or career?
Yeah.
In some
You know,
ways?
it's hard to watch sometimes because you you're always like you're like a father. You want
Yeah.
to help them. You know, you don't want them to fall down. You don't want it's hard. It's sometimes hard. I had my son fight. That was the worst thing. You know, just to watch your kid get in there and you can't do anything. You know, I don't mind if it's me. I'll take it, but I definitely don't want to see my kids taking it. You know, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I know from experience, just you and me just talking about certain things sometimes here and there, Stan, like you definitely always make time. That's something I can honestly say. I've
Yeah.
asked you questions about things, and you've always made time for me, and I always appreciated that. And that's just for some guy asking questions. I can't even imagine what you're doing for these guys that you're training.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of knowledge that would go into that.
It's a passion. You know, it's not work for me. It's when I get off this thing with you guys, I'm reading a book or I'm watching stuff all the time. So I could do this. Yeah, I don't see myself changing anything in my 80s. I'll still be. I'm more passionate about now than I was when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because time's running out on me. So now I thought life was longer, right? And I didn't realize how fast this life of ours goes by.
Yeah.
You know, for all the knowledge I need another 100 years to where I want to be.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Just think,
Yeah.
Reed, if you were to meet Stan and he was training you, where would you be now at this point? Eh? It's
Man, I wouldn't be 80 pounds overweight. But I also probably wouldn't have my kid Fiona, who
there we
you know,
go. Okay. All
and
right, good.
that's one of the questions I had lined up for Stan when Sean and Brad invited me on here with you, Stan.
What's that?
I'm a fairly new dad. My daughter's 2.25 years old.
Yeah.
And I know from my background, I was problematic. I was a problem child at 4. My parents stuck me in judo because they were like,
Wow.
"Oh, he'll at least just get some energy out." We had Jimmy Pedro here in Massachusetts. Very fortunate to have him around. And then boxing, obviously, you know, we have a great boxing heritage here. But I'm not sure how to handle that with my kid. You know, do I push her into martial arts? Like I had like kind of a need for it. According to my parents, at least, I was a bit of a psychopath.
Yeah.
And they always say the reason I'm not in jail is because they made that decision when I was 4. So let's pretend that my daughter's not a psychopath. How do we introduce the youth into, and at what age do you think is appropriate? Because I know you see this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when do we start kids on this path of martial arts? And how do we? And you know, I know you've been Savate and Muay Thai kickboxing and mixed martial arts. What style do we start with? You know, which discipline is the best to kick everything off?
Yeah. Hey, if so I had two boys, and what I've seen in my life with so far the best, what I would do is they got, like, how they got the Tiny Tot kids programs now.
Yeah.
They take them at 4, 5 years old.
Yeah, like the little dragons or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I don't go there with that. I think it's glorified daycare.
Yeah.
They're not really learning any kind of martial arts, really. It's a playground. It's play, they just play games and that. But I think when kids are around, I'd say 7, 8, the martial arts starts to make a little more sense to them. What little kid wants to do push-ups and sit-ups when they're little? They don't even have the stomach muscles to do it. It's just, it's to me, it's useless. What I would do, I would put a kid in the gymnastics right away.
You're the second person that said that to me now.
Well,
best-
I'll put a third to it. My kids start off in gymnastics, and then now my 8 and
They, you know what? You put a kid in gymnastics, they know their body better than ever, and they're not scared of they're not scared. Once they know how to do flips and all that stuff, they know themselves really inside out. And then you put them into martial arts, and boy, they tend to thrive really well.
It's funny you say that, Stan. I have that same. My kids are in gymnastics now, and it's hard to watch it for me.
Yeah.
Fear factor of watching them flip and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I can't control it, and I'm just like, oh, that. And then they come home and practice. That's not.
Yeah.
The older ones now have gotten into. We have them in Taekwondo right now because that's what's open here. And,
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of rolling around and kicking, and it's good fun, but it's also but it's
See,
fascinating to
the
watch.
gymnastics scares the crap out of me more than martial arts. I've done martial arts, and I do break
that's
falls,
for the
but
body.
I've never done a backflip on purpose. So you know what I mean? Like I've done a backflip, never on purpose, never intentionally.
There's
How do you deal with that?
That shows like what you can learn when you're younger versus what you can learn even when you get to be 12 and 13. That we just decided to start with our kids early, just so they can figure out some body control and.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Letting them do what they want to do. So to your point, Reed, earlier, like I let my kids try everything, and at this day and age, you can get trials, and you don't have to make these giant year-long commitments anymore. You can just let them try what they want, and as long as they're being active and learning some things, then I'm pushing. I'll let them go. Just structure, Matt. The discipline that you get from it, like those things, I want to find that. I want to spark whatever passion they have. So I want them to try a bunch of things.
Yeah, I know. But I'm dealing with she's 2 years, 3 months. There's no discipline with this kid. Like she disciplines us basically. She was bossing me around. She slammed a door on my finger earlier. She's a badass. I don't know what to do with that. So I know.
I don't believe this. I don't believe this, Reed. She's so cute.
I know she's adorable, but come on, she's a little shit. Sugar honey iced tea, and
I can take notes later. I'll give you my secrets. I don't want to put it out in public.
Yeah, I'll need some. I need all the help I can get. Dan, let me have it. Whatever you got, because I'm hurting.
I want the Nicoles to hear about that. I got to share you in on. So,
all right, we'll talk later.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. I gymnastics, and then when the girls seem to they pick up things faster than the boys when they're kids.
They're smarter than us generally. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. When I was in Amsterdam, I was watching the kids class, and there was always little girls were beating the hell out of the little boys.
Yeah.
it was a pretty eye opener.
That was me at every point in my life, Stan. It was always some girl beating the hell out of me, and then I have a kid, and that's still happening. So, they do pick up things a lot quicker. So I'm thankful that I had a daughter, because she just absorbs everything so quickly. Whether it's a line from a movie, she's really into the Clash now. We love listening to music. She's really into the Clash, so she's like, "Dad, rock the Casbah," and we're just like, "All right, fucking A."
Doesn't she watch like UFC events with you now as well?
Every single one. She'll stay up till 1 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, she doesn't care. She's captivated, which scares me, because I'm like, just be a scientist or a lawyer or something. I don't know.
You a big Nunez fan?
Surprisingly, no. Like her jam is probably going back, sticking with the Dutch here. Overeem. She seems to really
Well,
like. I watch. I think Overeem's one of the most, probably the most technical striker in the heavyweight division of all time, right? And she really gravitates towards that, I think. And of course, I'm applying my father's eye to my 2-year-old, but whenever there's an Overeem fight on, she's not moving off the couch.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Well,
He's
it's enjoying her to see a big dude walking around with.
Yeah. He's a big, handsome guy, and again, I think so Stan, who in the UFC right now? Let's just keep it to the UFC, unless you've got a favorite in a different, larger MMA organization. But who do you think is like the pinnacle of striking in mixed martial arts across any weight class, male or female? Who is the fighter that you're really like, I cannot miss this fight. I gotta watch this because it's technique city. Or you're just like, I'm gonna drink it in. Who's doing it right?
well, his last fight was amazing. Was Max?
All the way?
Holloway.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he looked like a totally different fighter.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, and again, I know he's only like what are we talking about, Brad? Like 29, 30, maybe?
Yeah.
He was in Thailand working with Samarit Smart, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yes.
And yeah, and he was the same thing, not doing a lot of sparring with him. And
Famously
Oh.
didn't at all. That was
Yeah.
the thing everyone was kind of anxious to see, and then he came out and just dismantled that boy. I
Boy.
don't know if I've ever had seen that at any level. It wasn't even focused on the guy in front of him. He was talking to the side and talking to the corner, and
yeah,
and still landing incredible shots through that. I thought it was a fascinating exposition. I'd be interested to see if he can do it again.
yeah, yeah. And I think Connor will be back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, there's a couple of fighters that we see with the kind of like point karate style. That's real heavy side stance that just seem to make it work really well. Again, I'm not really a big Conor McGregor the man fan, but Conor McGregor the fighter, absolutely fascinated by constantly every time. No matter what, like, even though I know he's going to lose the fight against, like his last one against Poirier, because I'm like, he's been out of the ring for so long, he still has that mystique where it's like if he touches your chin, it could all be over that quickly. But like, so for you, what, like, I guess to elaborate on my last question, to spin it down a little bit more, what is the best style you're seeing in mixed martial arts? Because again, I've got no karate background whatsoever, but or taekwondo. But I'm fascinated by like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Gunnar Nelson, these guys,
GSP?
and yeah, I guess GSP. Sean's just shoehorn him in every time.
See, with those guys, I guess it's funny because with those guys, what's the other guy's name? The Englishman, Tillman, is it? Bill?
Stephen
big-
Wonderboy Thompson.
Okay,
Well, he's
that's the one.
American. He's American.
Where's the Englishman? There's an Englishman there too.
Michael Bisping?
Miller?
No, the guy's a
Oh,
karate
Dan
guy.
Miller. Dan Miller.
Dan Miller?
Yeah,
And
there's
Is he British?
He's British. Dan Miller. No, not Dan Miller.
Oh, Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page.
There we go.
Yeah.
okay. So
The kid that broke that guy's forehead, Cyborg's forehead with the knee.
yeah,
He's got
Okay,
a
so-
real side, hands down.
see those guys, like the only thing, and again with Connor and that when they do that long karate stance,
Mm,
Yeah.
the only thing I find with them is they tire after a couple of rounds. You can't be standing in a long stance like that. Mind you, if they hit you, they're sitting down on their punch, which is really good.
Yeah.
It works, but karate wasn't for long 5-rounders, 5-minute rounds. And that's why everybody goes, well, he's tired again. You stand in a stance like
A horse
like
stance.
your leg- yeah, basically you're gassing, right? So
Yeah.
and they were always saying, "Oh, his cardio is not that good." Give me a break. The guy's his cardio is amazing, but
Yeah.
not with that stance. That's all it is.
It was interesting with Connor this last time that his gas tank was pretty normal, but when his leg got kicked out,
Yeah,
it was over. And you could just tell that his stance went to shit, and then the fight was downhill from there. As soon
Well,
as that
yeah.
came out. And that's the downside of those guys, right? I think is the leg kicks they're more susceptible to not necessarily stop fight damage, but definitely stop their flow damage.
Yeah,
But-
it makes it more available, right? Because that lead leg is out there a little more than it should be, I guess. And there's an incredible amount of weight on that, right?
Yeah, you don't see the ties. The ties just pull their leg back, no problem, because they're standing in a stance like a walking stance.
Yeah,
They
very
have
natural.
they know that they can't be kicking like that for long. It'd be too, and now everybody's making this big thing about the calf kick, like that's some new thing that came. That's just bullshit. That all you got to do is point your ankle out, or don't be a long stance and just pull your leg back. And now everybody's making it something else. I don't
Stan,
know.
I've been ripping my hair out about this whole thing because everyone's just like it's this sexy new thing, and I'm like, go back 150, 200, 300 years. It's been a thing forever, and you know what? It's a thing in every plot of land that we have on God's green earth, right? Like everyone's always thought to kick the leg, right?
Yeah.
When some weight's applied to it, that's a principle in judo, sambo, Greco-Roman, whatever. It's a principle in everything. The fact that I think why it's such a weird like thing that everyone's kind of exploring now and really putting the spotlight on is nobody was respecting it for a long period of time. When we saw Israel Adesanya get in the ring with Paulo Costa, Paulo Costa sat there with his leg down, didn't decide that he didn't check a single kick from what I could tell in that first or second round. And he paid dearly for it. And I think that's a big problem. I think we're finally starting to see the effects of a mixed martial arts culture that doesn't respect the leg kick. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is the big mountain coming down the hill to terrorize the townspeople. It's like, it's always been there. Yeah, Thai fighting is as old as time.
Nothing new under the sun, right? It was easily defendable before, and then people got a little sloppy with it. So
People got crazy. I used to see guys, again, raise the knee, turn the foot towards the direction of the strike to get the bone right there. Make them pay.
Yeah,
right?
well, and you will make them pay, because if they're going for your calf, that's where you catch the end of the smallest part of their ankle.
Oh yeah.
The shin, that's
Or
where
or the top of that foot, like which I used to get all the time.
yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
so I don't know why they made such a big deal about that. Anyway, it's just people making something up.
There's a lot more combat sports fans today than there were yesterday. Right now,
I just find
good
I just
and
find-
bad.
Yeah, I just find it now. It just seems like okay. So like, you talk to a lot of combat sports fans, and especially about UFC 259, right? So Israel Adesanya was going to be the next light heavyweight champion, right? That didn't happen, as we all know.
Thankfully,
I'm
tired of the two division champion. You can't pay your division the respect.
You can't.
it deserves.
Like, not everybody should be just walking around. This is a rare thing. I'm glad Jan Blachowicz won that fight, but people were still going, well, I don't understand the scoring on this. Well, if you're on the ground for 2 rounds, you're going to lose. My big thing, though, I wanted to ask you, Stan, it's the first time I've ever seen it in the UFC. I mean, the WWE, the title can't switch hands if you're disqualified.
Yeah.
Are you
But
comparing two sport? Are you comparing WWE to?
Hey, no.
WWE is theater, Sean. It's
Stop.
theater.
Stop.
Okay.
They're still athletes. Mick Foley was still an athlete. Okay, let me just finish.
In
Let me just finish
movies,
my point.
The villain doesn't always win, Sean. The bad
No,
guy.
I understand. Thank you. I mean, the heel doesn't always win, but the heel is the best part about it. Let's just get back to this,
Okay.
though. So Peter Yan and
Piotr Jan.
Piotr Yan
Respect the man. Respect the name.
and
Respect his name.
Reed, give me Aljamain Sterling. Is that it?
Aljamain Sterling. You
Aljamain
can just call him Aljo. He just goes by
Yeah.
Aljo. You can call
So,
me Al.
anyways,
Mr. Sterling.
disqualified, rightfully so. Like, that was an illegal knee to the head. I don't blame him for not continuing, but to literally get the title, though, I'm just like, what's your thoughts about that, there, Stan? Like,
So when in boxing, if how in boxing, if you got a low blow or a headbutt in the first 2 rounds or something like that,
First 4 now for Marcus of Queensberry
it
rules.
4?
The first
Okay.
4, yeah.
and that kind of made sense to me, right?
Yeah.
And if the fight goes on beyond that, then they go to the scorecards and they see who was ahead. That's how they do it. And I was thinking that was the same for the UFC. Is it not?
Nope,
It
it is
doesn't
not.
seem like not. It's like that was a complete
See,
disqualification.
Well,
And
Yeah,
then-
it was-
definitely.
it was-
And
it was,
it
it was a reason. And Mark Smith had the ability to do that. He could have just called it a stoppage and then gone to the cards.
That's
with-
true.
Yeah, it's well within the ref.
and
But-
pull the points, but he called it disqualification. And the reason he called it that way was because he called the guy down.
Yeah,
yeah.
20 seconds later, he'd need him in the face, which to me is more egregious than just a simple 12-6 elbow
yeah,
or a iffy headbutt or something, poking
punching
the eye.
somebody in the back of the head or something like
Those
that.
things, right? That are more
Which is
effective.
like what Stan was talking about with like the Marcus Queensberry rules, right? We talked about the 4 rounds. After that, we'll go to the scorecard.
Yeah.
The UFC, mixed martial arts, with these with the sanctioning bodies that support this rule system, has done it right to put it in the hands of the referee. Which is, I want to segue into that conversation with you, Stan, because Sean's out to lunch when it comes to how hard a job refereeing is. But let me finish.
Whoa.
Let me finish, Sean. Let me finish. And if it weren't as egregious as Brad was kind of talking about what Jan did, I would have been like, no contest, or
no
go to the
contest. Yeah.
or if it was late enough in the fight. But the ref said, "Hey, he's down." Jan looked over at his corner and said, "Okay to knee in the face," and his corner was like, "Absolutely." And it was a complete misunderstanding of the rules, which is a big part of the fight. Fighter safety is a huge thing. A+, again, titles, they come and go so quickly. It's fine these days.
I thought it was the right call.
Yeah.
I thought it was the right call. There's, the guy, and they were saying, "Oh, he should have got the Oscar for faking it and all that." No,
Those are people who have never been kneed in the face.
That's right.
When they weren't expected to be, when they were quite sure they weren't going to be kneed in the face. By the way,
Well, that's what I told Sean. Sean and I were talking offline. He was like, "He's an actor." I go, "I don't, bro. If you feel like you're not gonna get kneed in the face, you can knee in the face." Like, I go, "Come over, we can demonstrate it." I've been
Oh no,
happy.
I hear that. I hear that. I'm not disagreeing with that, but there are people that have been knocked out, get up, and they're walking around, right? But
because they were knocked out and they shouldn't have done that, Sean.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have done that. If I was talking to my TV, I was like, "Aljo, stay down, stay down," and then you're in control of your destiny for the next 3 to 6 months at least, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what comes with the title. You get to kind of pick who you're going to fight. Because like you've earned it. He's been in the league long enough. Like he's been in the UFC long enough.
He's going to be fighting Peter Yan again. Though.
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
He's an animal. He's a
Well,
professional.
that's good. But I was going to say, we all knew what was going to happen next if he had got up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
he
know
was
what?
going to get knocked out. He was already losing the fight though, as it was. He was already
Well, not only knocked out, but could have been the end of his career.
You could have done real.
He got
good.
knocked out so bad that he might never get a second chance.
Totally agree.
You never
Yeah,
know.
Sean, it doesn't matter what was happening before that
Oh
point.
no.
That happened. That compromises you. And like again, what they're seeing with the concussions and
I'm not
CTE these days
disagreeing.
is
I'm
the
not
big one and then
disagreeing.
the little one. All right,
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with all that.
Kinda
I'm just
disagree.
disagreeing. I'm disagreeing with the title switching hands. That's my only.
Listen,
You
point
think
of
Jan
perspective.
should have kept the title or should have been
No,
vacated?
it should have been vacated. That's the way I thought about it. It should have been vacated.
No, that's silly. It's silly on an egregious knee like that. It's one thing
It
if
is
it's
silly.
not. If it's a judgment call, it shouldn't have been vacated.
We'll leave it. We'll leave it to Stan. Stan, you're the final authority on this.
There we go.
Tell Sean
My-
why he's wrong.
My only problem was when they went to the scorecards, they had the other guy ahead.
Yeah, who I think one judge had Sterling, and I
Yeah.
think the other two might have had Jan.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
if they-
really?
but here's
Yeah.
the point though: is that didn't include that fourth round. And if you take away 2
Right.
points from the fourth round, then you're in a different scorecard because it was a 29-28 card at that point.
But who the hell thought Sterling was winning that fight before that knee?
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm
really
saying.
not-
I don't,
That's the problem.
Judges are entirely different.
I thought-
I know, Stan. I'm like, I've been
I
wondering the
thought-
same thing all week.
I was thinking, Sterling. I like the fact that he pushed the fight. He was really giving her, but the hardest punches and everything was going definitely, and even the throws the guy was doing. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe half those judo throws. I'd never seen reaps like that
No.
ever.
Yeah.
Like that. He had a whole different style of throws, eh?
Yeah. He was
Yeah.
major, inner, major, outer, minor,
Yeah.
minor, outer reaps all over the place. Like it was
That's
just,
cool.
it was a masterclass, really. And like that's why P.F. Yan is so fun and really an underappreciated guy. And it really sucks because he did the right thing. He asked his corner what to do. There's a language barrier between him and the ref. and that was brutal. And it resulted in him losing the title. But again, who cares? He's going to get the automatic rematch.
Yeah.
He'll get it back if it's meant to be. If he puts in the work, which I think he does, he'll take the title back.
Yeah.
Well, he has a shot even to capture a little bit more, because his next fight's going to be more hype than the.
Oh yeah. This is a big. He should be excited. A lot of money in
It's
this.
true.
Now.
Lots of money.
No,
So-
but if it went to the fifth round, we knew the Russian was going to win anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
the
way I
Ruskies
looked
are
at-
great in that.
Yeah, and the way I looked at it is Sterling might have a second chance here to learn from this. He might
Yeah.
come with a different game plan, I don't know. But he didn't get knocked out, which is good.
Yeah.
And I think getting up and going into the fifth round, he would have paid the ultimate price anyway. So he was better off this way.
He
Yeah.
had you could just tell he had no gas. He could get where he wanted to. He could see where
Yeah.
he wanted to go, and he could get there, but not with any kind of force or any kind of.
It didn't look like it was his night, and it wasn't typical of the Aljo that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the result would have been any or Jan wouldn't have schooled him, but it just wasn't the Aljo I would have seen. So either way, I think even if Jan won that, I think probably Sterling would. I think it would be close enough to where Sterling would probably get the automatic rematch either way. I don't see anyone else in that division really threatening Sterling's position. So
Yeah.
I thought it was the best fight of the night.
yeah, 100%.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't-
It definitely was. Yeah.
I didn't care. The other fights were not lackluster, but they weren't barn burners.
Yeah, I mean, like you're watching Nunes. Like, what the hell?
Khabib's guy was a clinic.
Yeah, Islam.
Islam.
Makhachev.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that wasn't the fight.
That's what I was about to say about Nunes. Like, like with Nunes, she, her and her partner just they're new mothers now. Like, and I know how much that's kicking my ass. I couldn't imagine being a new mother and then like, oh yeah, I got to go to defend 2 titles in the UFC. But she just went in there against Megan Anderson, who's one of the bigger girls I've seen in that division, one of the longer girls I've seen in that division, who knows how to put it together. And Nunes just kind of walked right through. It's like that was a lot of that card was like, who cares? I know who's going to win this fight.
Yeah.
You saw the same thing with Islam Makhachev there against Drew Dober, where it was so one-sided. You were like, this is kind of hard to watch. It was embarrassing almost. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the first time I've seen somebody get choked out like that with the shoulder just digging in to that carotid there. Just
real pressure.
yeah.
Oh well, yeah. That's the whole background of the Von Flue choke, right? Like that's really in a street situation. That's what you're trying to do is cut off blood to brain as quick as possible. And then if you can break a collarbone in the process,
right?
it's
You
great.
just see the legs go across, and you try to walk it out to try to get more pressure on that. And he just
Sure.
applied the pressure from his shoulder. I was like,
Oh yeah.
what kind of freaky strength do you have to do that? That's crazy.
Dagestan, Sean.
Yeah.
They're a different type of human being than the rest of us for some
Imagine
reason.
if you choked out a bear, you can probably choke out a human.
Yeah.
When we were in Thailand, we're at Tiger Muay Thai, and it's like it looks like a city.
It's gorgeous.
That's how big the gym.
Big campus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they've got all of every second guy there looks like Khabib now.
Yeah.
But they got the beard underneath there, and they're all from what was it, Kazakhstan? What area?
Dagestan, like all the
Dagestan.
Caucasus mountain ranges.
Yeah. So I walk up and they all look like Sinuit blocks. They all square heads with these beards. They all look the same. They all look they all look the same. They all look like Khabib. And I'm watching these guys, and they're all so the MMA is getting real big at Tiger Muay Thai and all through Thailand anyway.
Yeah, Volkanovski
But-
there was big part of that too.
But I was watching them working out when I was there. There's no stopping those guys. Like they take the workouts to a different level.
Yeah.
Where I hate to say it, but we've got soft.
Yeah, North America,
Well, they want it worse than we do.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't have anything there.
Oh, if you lived on some rocky mountain, there's nothing. This is all you've got. And for them to pay that kind of money to get to Thailand and to work out for 6 months there, that's everything they have is in that training right there.
Well, I mean, like even with like the religious background too, where we're talking about Islam there, like it's a very disciplined religion. However you feel about it, it's disciplined as shit. You know, there's a long period of time where you're not eating sun up to sundown, Ramadan, right? You know, so like every ounce of their life is hard, right? And we saw guys like that come from mountainous region. Even Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines used to carry a cart up a mountain. That's why he had those obnoxious calves that look like Sean's calves on the little Pac-Man body. But like you know, mountains produce absolute killers, and we've seen a lot of athletes that kind of abscond off to the mountains for training camps.
Yeah.
And then we see guys that come from those mountains, and that's what we're really seeing with Dagestan right now. Where you're just like, oh boy, you got any of those cats kicking around up there? Are you still in BC, by the way?
Yeah.
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 You got has Dagestan reached there yet? What are we talking about?
No, if we see anybody with beards underneath their neck, we'll know not to mess with them.
Yeah. You won't even bother with the waiver and everything, right? It's like, don't even bother signing it.
That'll be the new thing in the bars now. You just wear your beard under your neck and everybody will stay away from you.
Yeah. That's why I was like the cauliflower ear. Like when I was wrestling as a kid, I was like obsessed, you know, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo. I was always obsessed with wearing my headgear because I didn't want cauliflower. And then at some point, everyone started recognizing that's the international sign of a badass.
Yeah.
And I completely missed out. Like I've got nice clean ears. Like there's a little bit of here and a little bit up here. But other than that, like you know, I'm not like Randy Couture where I can't get an earbud in. I wish someone told me. So that's the other thing too, is you got the chin fit there, and then you got
some cauliflower ears. You'll be good. You'll be good.
It graduated from tap out t-shirts to cauliflower ears. Now we got this beard under your neck, you know.
Yeah. Could you imagine the whole damn thing? Affliction, the beard, and then the cauliflower. That's the baddest man on earth.
And then you find out it's a chick.
Oh yeah, of course. Buying her a beer, Stan, every time. I'm paying my fucking respects. I don't care.
Yeah, she's fighting Nunes next.
Oh, God rest her soul.
So one last point I wanted to say here is that everybody counted Jan Blachowicz out, right?
No, Sean, no, wrong.
The pundits, the major pundits,
you're just reading ESPN. You're just reading ESPN.
Stop. Joe Rogan and all the other announcers were all just like, you know, oh yeah, Israel Adesanya. Oh, Israel Adesanya. I was glad.
How can you not?
How can you not want?
They wanted to see that John Jones fight.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing: is that they're doing the exact same thing with Stipe Miocic. The exact same thing is like, oh, Francis Ngannou, how much damage is he taking from the Daniel Cormier fight? How is he going to fight Ngannou? He already beat Ngannou once. He'll beat him again. And then they're already giving the title to Jones. It's like, it's John Jones. That's his title.
Well, I think John Jones goes up to super heavyweight.
Your plank out of your eye, so you can see clearly what's going on.
That's true. You are a George St. Pierre apologist in every sense of the word.
Wow.
I think Israel made a big mistake. He was already talking John Jones before this last fight. He was looking past the Polish kid, and I knew the minute the Polish guy punched him once, that was it. Yeah. I could see the look on his face, like, oh,
shit. By a 225-pound man before.
Yeah.
Well, see, this is the problem. Stan's talking about what I was talking about before this fight. Maybe not with you guys. I have another podcast in MMA. I have trouble keeping track of where I'm at. But Stan is a man who's fought a Pole before, right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
At some point, you fight someone from Poland or of primarily Polish heritage. There's something about that group of people as well, where they just don't take kindly to the word no. And like a jab's a no, a cross is a no, a shin kick's a no. Jan Blachowicz was not taking no in that fight. He was the bigger man. He knows how to handle himself in that division at 205 there. And frankly, I thought it was stupid. Adesanya's kind of chubby at 185. He should have been going down to 170, I thought, and taking on Marty.
Walking in at 200 without cutting any weight, it does a couple of things.
He was holding a pizza and wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah, he was outweighed and outclassed. He looked past him. That's a great point, Stan. You could think he was looking elsewhere.
100% looking past him.
Yeah, and then when when he got taken to the ground, take nothing against the Polish fighter, but his ground game is nothing anyway.
Right.
And Israel couldn't do nothing from the bottom anyway. Wait till John Jones. You're talking a whole different level.
Yeah,
Israel would have got the beating of his life if he meets John Jones.
Oh,
He's good.
yeah, Sean. That's what I was kind of alluding to when you first brought this up. That is a bad comparison. Israel Adesanya is like on paper and materially a striker. Right. And when he goes to the ground, he does the Chuck Liddell thing. If I'm near the cage, I know how to get up real good.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'm going to sit there. I'm going to make it as boring as shit so the ref stands us up. Right. I know how to do those two things. That's Adesanya this whole ground game. John Jones comes. He was a collegiate wrestler at a very high level. Right, comes from a family of super athletes.
Yeah.
Every single Jones seems to be in some kind of major sports organization.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, like
I'm just saying, I'm just sick and tired.
That's why John Jones is terrifying.
I'm just sick and tired of people just looking past, like right now, the greatest heavyweight champion to ever be the heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic.
He's boring, Sean.
Oh, come on, man. He's knocked out people. It's not like
I know, but I'm playing
people.
I'm playing devil's advocate. Like I know he's not Josh Koscheck or GSP. You know, the lamprey, but he's kind of unsexy, you know, and he's from Ohio, you know, he says silly shit.
It's Randy Couture all over again, right?
I know,
it's exactly what it is. Is it
is
the UFC just looking at somebody going, this is not a prototypical person that we want as our champion?
It's a business, Sean. It's a business.
It's a business.
Stan, you own a business, you like making money, right? Like that's one of your goals when you open a business. Yeah. The business at least has to stay open.
Yeah, well, this year has been a challenge, that's for sure.
It's been a challenge, yeah. and you know that it is what it is, Sean. Like whatever you got to do to drum up some business. Stipe is not great at that. Like he's just not. The guy's still out there fighting fires. I love him to death. I will 100% not argue that he's probably the greatest heavyweight of all time in his accomplishments. I don't think he's the greatest wrestler. I don't think he's the greatest kickboxer.
I'm not saying any of that. I'm talking about the UFC as far as heavyweight champions. Sorry, go ahead, Brett.
Said he was the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. That's what you said.
Yeah, he is. How can he not be?
I've said it a number of times. Yeah, when you win that many fights, you stay at the top of the division that long. Okay.
He is the greatest heavyweight champion of all time.
But this is not the lightweight division, though, Sean. We also gotta pay homage to that. We have to respect that. This isn't when Aldo went on that winning streak at featherweight there. How dangerous of a division was that across both organizations, WWC into the UFC? That's a terrifying division.
Welterweight was.
What are the heavyweights?
Like that?
What are the heavyweights that you're really terrified of? There's not a lot of heavyweights out there that are really like Derek Lewis is winning fights.
Yeah. Well,
I love Derek Lewis, but
the only thing about that next that heavyweight fight you guys are talking about, Francis. Okay. Well, the one thing about heavyweights we all like is takes one shot, and Francis lands it. The other guy's out, and that's why we always love heavyweight fights because it can be over in one shot. That's one thing. With the welterweights and that, they can take it and come back, but not heavyweights. Yeah. It's over.
You won't see a knockout like Derek Blaze had against, or Derek Lewis Blaze in any other weight class.
No.
Not that kind of violence. Or Ngannou on Overeem was one of the grossest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastic, but I get what you're saying.
Like you're just not going to see that in the lighter weights.
And if you notice that Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis fight there again, who was the ref, and just let it go on a little bit.
All right, Sean.
Dude,
we're not listening.
I would like your opinion here. Sean is of the opinion that Herb Dean is the worst official in MMA history.
I wanted Stan's got a point right now. He's raised his hand several times.
Yeah, I know. I want to say.
Let's get to that.
The only thing, a little off topic, but the one thing I don't understand about they made such a big deal about Israel. Now if you look at it, they're saying what an amazing striker he is. Go look at Glory and go watch all his fights. I've watched 3 already that he got beat every, and he was losing to average Glory guys. They weren't the top guys, Yeah, I mean, he got knocked out by the top guy, but
Yeah.
the other 2 fights before that, he got beat. He looked like, I don't know. So they're making like he's this amazing striker. And
That's what I said about Anderson Silva when the Anderson Silva reign started in the UFC. Was like Anderson Silva was losing to B-level guys in Pride. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't working for him. And I don't think it was time and place in UFC. I think it's just they have a unique set of rules that kind of favors the stand-up game a little bit more. The refs are more willing to stand the fight up than other organizations. But you know, to look at Glory right now, let's go see Alex Bejeda, who's a 2-division champ, a champ in Glory right now. With how difficult that is to do, I think so. That was one of the things I kind of wanted to bring up was how the hell do we get North America on the kickboxing train? Glory is better than I've ever seen any other organization from purely an entertainment standpoint. They've got Rico Verhoeven, right? That big, beautiful son of a bitch who's out there just knocking people's heads off. You get the wild card in Badr Hari. You don't know what the hell that guy's going to do. Again, Alex Bejeda there from Brazil. Like, you got all these great guys that are personalities. It's just exciting sport. Why isn't that selling in North America?
You know what? That's a $1 million question. All my life I've been watching it, and I love the kickboxing, and it just never ever, like, Glory's on its last legs too, right?
I know, it's so sad to watch.
Yeah, and for me, in my lifetime, like I've gone to UFC fights, I've gone to pro boxing and all that. There was nothing that none of those things compared to the K1. When I was in the Tokyo Dome, I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was
I went to one in the Saitama Super Arena, and it was like 90,000 people. You could hear a pin drop during the fights, right? You could hear everything the corners were saying. I remember seeing Alexander Filo, the Brazilian kid there, fighting Peter Arts, which was like, for me, the best it could get. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane, but I just don't know how the hell this isn't more popular here, especially the personalities. And like, shout out to one of my favorite Canadian fighters, other than you, Stan, Joseph Valtellini. Like, he was an exciting fighter, great personality. He's commentating now. He's smart. He's intelligent. Like, he's good looking. He's a good Italian boy. Like, how the hell do we not sell this to everybody here in North America? What's the answer?
They tried. Like, so Glory was really trying to get an American champion. That's one thing. They really needed Americans to shine, to sell. But, you can't sell the Dutch, and you can't sell the Moroccans, and they just don't, Badr Hari was one thing because he was such a badass. He was like the Mike Tyson of,
it was Mike Tyson.
It was all the things he did after the fight.
Getting slapped by his corner, like before the fight, and then after the fight, before the fight, fighting everybody up.
He's already had 3 fights before he got in the ring. Like, he was beating everybody up. So that was, he's a massive star in Europe. Like, everybody loves the guy, right? But
obviously, as he should
be. They tried to find, I don't know what it is, but I find with the Americans, you guys just kill it when it comes to wrestling, collegiate wrestling and all that, and jiu-jitsu. You guys picked up, you guys stole the jiu-jitsu, and the wrestling was yours anyway.
That's what we do, Stan. We steal the shit out of everything.
Yeah, but the kickboxing, didn't grow.
Nope.
I hate to say it, but when it came to kickboxing, if I had to pick if I had, of all the countries, and somebody said, well, you're fighting an American, I'd go, good.
Yeah.
Because I knew the level wasn't up there.
But if you lost, no one was watching anyways. Not even like. Right.
But if the guy told me, you're fighting a fucking Dutchman, I'd be like, holy shit, that's not good. Or
even if you win that fight, you're gonna have 20 other Dutchmen right behind him, each worse than the last.
But I'm just saying, I don't know why it just never. You know what I think it is? The Americans are smart. They know there was no money in it. They said, forget it. Might as well go to UFC with some money or boxing. But there was never any cash in the kickboxing.
Yeah,
That's a sin.
But the thing is though, is like what? All right, so for Marcus Queensberry rule boxing, right?
Yeah.
What is the allure? Why are they still selling fucking pay-per-views when you have Anthony Joshua's not going to fight Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's not going to fight Anthony Joshua? Anthony Joshua's like, I'll only fight these guys.
I don't know if you noticed though, Reed. Like now, boxing's become a circus. Now, when you're looking at the Jake Paul.
First of all, it's been a circus for a long time. Now it's a freak show. Now it's a freak show.
Right.
Now you have ex-NBA guys.
And some of it's the nostalgia, right? A lot of us grew up watching boxing, and we're gonna still do it.
Yeah, but I fucking love boxing, and I hate what's going on right now.
Well, they got too many divisions.
Yeah.
Too many sanctioning bodies.
Yeah.
UFC is UFC. There's no where are you going to go? Bellator. If you're
Bellator.
finished, you go to Bellator.
Or if you're starting, one or the other, right? It's like,
Yeah. But when you got boxing, you got 50 world champions at different, and then they pick and choose. Well, you're never gonna. That's why we're not.
That's the thing that's frustrating me so much is,
Yeah.
And I go down the rabbit hole on this probably once a week. Usually I'm on the John or something thinking about this stuff. So I'm not operating heavy machinery or anything, Stan. Don't worry. But like I'm like, how is it that boxing is able to be so egregious and so pornographic in their fanfare, bread and circus nonsense, right? Yet Glory is, as you've accurately identified, probably on their last leg.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and you've got athletes that are putting out and fighting anybody, anytime, anywhere, whatever the hell they have to do, any country. I saw one, they were in Azerbaijan, I think. It was like, how the fuck do you organize anything in Azerbaijan? Yet boxing continues to get to be this. Every time you watch a fight in boxing, I'm like, it was fixed probably,
And tell me something. How is it the UFC fighter doesn't make us close to a dime compared to the boxers? The boxers,
unless you're Conor McGregor, but even Conor McGregor's not making that kind of money.
Well,
But
Conor
that was-
made his money fighting Floyd, right?
that's right.
Conor got most of his money.
Yeah,
And now he made all that money selling his proper 12 there. So
He buys all of his money.
yeah, he's doing fine. He's doing fine. But yeah, I mean that's why you have Dustin Poirier not fighting a title because he knows there's more money to fight Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess the consensus is it's kind of nostalgia that why boxing is still so much money in it. It's the kind of the
history.
old guard.
It's the history. You still have Muhammad Ali to talk about.
You want that to still be a thing, right?
Yeah,
Your childhood thing, right? That's why
that's it.
Or you still go to the drive-in and get the milkshake. That isn't very good anymore because you used to get it when you were.
That's true.
Who wants a Shamrock Shake? Going to McDonald's right now.
There's
St. Patty's
more
Day.
McDonald's than there are good steakhouses. You know what I mean?
Oh,
All
true.
these not necessarily
That's
are.
fair. All
Very
right.
true. Very true.
Yeah.
Get your thoughts real quick before we let you go. We want to get your thoughts on the referee situation that we talked about a little bit earlier. Sean thinks Herb Dean is the worst official in MMA history. Would you agree with Sean, or would
Hold on a second though. Let me qualify that a little bit more, Stan. Have you refereed yourself?
Yeah. I've got my got my ticket for reffing and all that. Yeah.
How many times have you gotten it wrong?
Never.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you, Stan.
So,
Thank
hold
you.
on, Sean.
Yeah.
I
Hold
go
on,
Sean celebrate.
That's Stan the ref telling you never. I'm
Okay.
sure there's some pissed off kids somewhere who would disagree.
Wait, when you're saying what did I do? I can tell you what I did one time wrong.
Okay.
Is I was counting the guy out, and I told the other guy to go to the neutral corner, and I took my eye off him, and he came back on one side of me. And when I was counting, I looked, and he wasn't there, and he had come circled around the corner, and it pissed me off, and I literally had to take him by his chest and push him back into a corner because the kid was just hyped up. He wanted to get yeah. So there's a mistake. There's a mistake I made because I took him you're counting this guy. He's down.
Yeah.
Your eyes are on him. You're trying to make count with the the guy on the apron, you're trying with the timer, the timekeeper.
Yeah.
And now you got to look to see where this idiot's going because he's still
Yeah.
still trying to get a punch in from the side. So that was my mistake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
the one.
And
just feel
that's an
Herb
actual
Dean-
that's
Herb
an actual
Dean-
mistake. That's an
Yeah.
actual mistake.
Yeah.
That's not a subjective.
No.
mistake.
Herb Dean always looks like he smoked a big fatty before he just came down there to the main event.
What is this
Okay?
an anti-drug
'Cause all of a
PSA,
sudden-
Sean? Just
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
legal-
Because
it's legal
all of a
in Canada
sudden,
now.
all
Come
of
on.
a sudden, it is. It absolutely is.
Calm
But
down,
here's the
then.
thing. Here's the thing. When I saw that Blades fight and many other fights there, where that first punch he's knocked out, down, then all of a sudden 2-3 punches to the face. How many punches are you gonna let this guy take to the face? The guy's down. He's done. Get
Sean,
in there already.
you're shaking
Sprawl
your
in
you're
there.
shaking your camera right now,
I know,
Sean.
I'm sorry.
Take it down a notch. Stan, can you give him some mental training, perchance?
Yeah, no. You know what? I was going to say he's got a point there because I'm not going to say it was Dean, but there's a few times where I
went too long.
I love the sport, but where a guy is out and
Yeah.
you see these guys give two more off the guy's, you're going to kill somebody. It's just, and it was, I can't remember what fight it was that Dana White was even yelling at the guy. He was saying that's
yeah.
the last fight.
Yamasaki, who is my vote for the worst ref ever, but Sean disagrees. So that's-
No, Yamasaki was terrible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Mario
Don't
Yamasaki.
back up now. Don't back up now.
I'm not backing up. I'm just saying he's on the same
But
level. That's
the
all.
point is though, Sean, is you've been upset with Herb Dean because he stopped fights too early, in your opinion.
Yeah.
He's done both. He's
But
done
the
both.
problem is though, is you have to throw out all those early stoppages, in my opinion, because you see kind of a flash knockout situation or anything that would lead you to believe that's the case. Fighter safety is always number one, and I think the UFC's done a great job of elaborating, of really emphasizing that, right? So, like, if you're erring on the side of some guy might be able to walk tomorrow and watch his kid on a swing without having to be pushed in a wheelchair, like,
Mhm.
Or
so I think
5 years from now, I'll be able to get out of bed.
Yeah, exactly. Sean, have you ever dealt with it, Stan? I'm sure you've dealt with this before, where you got like a real bad concussion. You have to put out the curtains,
Yes,
and
yes.
the light from your cell phone, or your alarm clock is just like hell. Like this is the stuff we're saving people from. So I think Stan, he's not just talking about the letting it go too far. He's also been very critical of Herb Dean because he thought it stopped too early on fights
was
that
Ben Askren. It was that Ben Askren,
my God.
Robbie Lawler fight.
Ben Askren versus
Robbie Lawler
versus Street Jesus. There is that the one you thought was stopped too early, where he was out cold from a flying knee.
Not a 5 seconds.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when Dan Henderson was still flying through the air and he hit Bigsby with that when he was already out?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That
And I was all for it because I couldn't stand Bigsby.
Yeah,
That's North America. That's what that was for.
Like I got my money's worth, but I
I
saw Bigsby do an interview one time, and he said, I was out, and the guy jumped and come down on my, like there's fighters that won't do that, like say Hunt.
Yeah.
When he hits somebody, he walks away and
walk off
Yeah.
knockout.
he doesn't beat on you. But
Yeah.
there's some guys that will just keep pounding you when you're out.
Not only did it hit a man when he was down and out, but he then made that the official logo that he put on T-shirts and hats and made a shit ton of money. I bought one of those T-shirts because I hated Bisping. I couldn't fucking stand Bisping. I have it
No.
downstairs somewhere.
I loved it, but I just, if that was your friend and you saw him laying there, or was your student,
Yeah.
and this guy's coming through the air, coming down. Oh my God!
Yeah, they called it the Hendo bomb or the H bomb after.
Oh.
They branded that. I think they trademarked Hendo bomb. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not a fucking soda. Some guy got really like. You look at
Dave.
Bisping's. He's got like a fake cornea in his eye or whatever the fuck going bionic RoboCop eye. I don't know what the hell's going on with that crazy bastard, but like, geez, Louise.
Yeah.
And you brought up somebody earlier that I kind of wanted to bring up as well. Michael Venom Page, the British kid, who he had the karate style, but he's known for these over the top celebrations, right? So we know Mark Hunt will very quietly knock you out, and then just kind of walk away, as those gentlemen do down there in the Southern Pacific, right? Ray Sifu was the same way. He just kind of knock you out, walk away, and be done with it. Where's the beer so I can do a shoey afterwards? Yeah. But you got Michael Venom Page, who has one of my top 10 MMA moments of all time. Not good or bad. So I'm not celebrating this, but he needs Cyborg in the head.
Yeah.
Which we saw afterwards, the x-rays, he left a knee-shaped dent in his head.
Yeah.
Then he went to his corner, got a Pokemon hat and a Pokeball, and rolled the Pokeball at his writhing corpse on the ground.
Gosh. What in the world?
So I know in the history of, we can go back to Tito Ortiz when he's knocked people out, few and far between, but he's knocked people out before, where he does the Gravedigger routine. Yeah. What is your stance on celebrations? Do you favor the South Pacific gentleman who just knocks somebody out and then look at him like, all right, he's down, time for a beer, watch some rugby, or do you like the over the top celebrations?
You know what, a young guy works all his life and he gets a title shot and he wins it, and if he jumps up on the cage, that's okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but to mock somebody when they're down, they'll come back and get you.
Oh yeah.
All the other fighters don't. All those fighters remember. They're going, yeah, if that guy gets me down, he's going to make an ass of you, and they don't forget. And you watch when you're out what they're going to do. So you gotta, you still want to be, a sportsman.
Yeah,
because they'll come back at you.
That's said by a great Canadian right there. Stan, thank you so much.
It's good to finally have a great Canadian on this podcast.
Oh, wow.
and just having an American on here is okay too.
Stan, I don't say that. I don't say that purely in jest, because Sean married American, and then he adopted the sports team of his wife, who I'm sure doesn't give a shit about whatever sport team he roots for. She'd love him the same, but he's just like, no, I'm a Browns fan. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan.
Whoa, easy. I'm not an Indians fan at all. I mean, I'm a Blue Jays fan.
Shut up, Sean. You sound ridiculous.
No,
Stan,
no.
Who are your growing up, I was in the local newspaper here in the Lowell Sun, famously saying, I don't care about team sports because, and I did, but I just said that because I was involved in combat sports. It was a little bit of a hot take, but I was like, I don't care about team sports because it's all on me right now. So what is your team sport that you, what is your secret indulgence that you wouldn't necessarily want anyone to know about? Like, what is it? And I'm not saying like a football game, whatever, the Grey Cup, whatever you guys are watching up there, CFL, what's your, like, mine is curling. That's my nonsense
get
sport.
Out of your Reed. No
I
way.
fucking love curling.
No
it is such a nonsense sport. I'm obsessed with curling. We had the World Championships here in Lowell, and at Saugus Arena, I went and watched it, and I was entranced.
You had the Briar? You had the Briar.
I don't know what the fuck it's called, Sean. There was big, beautiful Swedish women. I was 16. I had no idea what was going on. But all right, Stan, what's your secret indulgent in competition in general? It could even be esports. What is your thing that really gets you going that you're kind of embarrassed of?
Embarrassed of? No, I'm not embarrassed. No, you grow up in Canada. I mean, you're going to be a big hockey fan. I mean,
obviously, yeah.
We all, like, I played hockey all my life when I was growing up. So hockey was, but I love. I'm big on hockey, football. I love watching you guys' football. Not so big on our football, but
I don't blame you.
But I mean, it just looks second grade compared to what you guys do.
Especially with that XFL merger coming up.
This XFL CFL collaboration going. Sean is very excited.
Yeah, Sean's dying on the hill of like, CFL is great, and I'm like, it's okay if it sucks. Our soccer sucks here in America. I think our soccer sucks.
What, MLS? MLS is great for North America.
I don't give a shit about it. I'd rather watch the Dutch than the World Cup or whatever.
I know Stan's a huge Canucks fan, and
oh boy.
Yeah, he's a huge.
You're gonna go back to 2011, Sean? Is that what we're trying to do? Trying to create a rift between Stan and I? We've got so close of this last hour and change. You're gonna bring up 2011 when the Bruins beat the Vancouver Canucks and Vancouver.
I didn't bring that up. You're bringing that up. You're bringing that up all on your own.
Our first Stanley Cup since 1972. Is that what you're gonna do to me, Sean? You're gonna do this to Stan and I? Stan and I, we've gotten very comfortable with each other. It's kind of messed up that you bring that up. Stan, your thoughts?
On what, the Canucks? I don't have any thoughts on those idiots.
Good man.
No, I'm almost at my end with those guys. 50 something years I've been watching those morons.
Come to the Bruins. You're more than welcome.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I welcome you with open arms.
yeah. Oh, I've been taunted to be a Oiler fan and everything. I just can't do it.
I don't blame you, Stan. You stick to your guns. At one point, things will turn around. I'm telling you.
This isn't a conversation for you to weigh in on.
What are you talking about? The Leafs? It's
Sean,
turning around.
you've got 9
Turning
teams
around.
in every
You're wearing a brown
organization.
shirt right now, and you're a
I
Buffalo.
am. What's wrong with the Browns? Listen, when they were lovable losers, it was all cute. Now all of a sudden they're winners. You guys were like,
Hey, boys, not in front of Stan. All right, Stan. Since your junk sport was actually a pretty good one, what's your poison? Right, like you've seen a couple of mine. I have coffee. I have bourbon. I have beer. I love a good cigar. What's your poison? What is your really bad thing? And don't say going to church or any of that crap because I'm not buying it.
I'd be like I said at the beginning of the show, I was really trying to get my diet under control. I was always a guy that didn't eat right.
My man.
Cheeseburgers. No, I'm not kidding. I could just live on sandwiches. That's all. When I was young, I could eat anything and keep the weight off and all that was no problem. Now, as I get older, metabolism's gone. Now I got to slow down on foods that I like.
All right, what's your desert island sandwich then?
Oh, it's always going to be some, fucking cheese and bologna or something.
Yeah.
Like
Are you frying the bologna, or are you talking about just like straight from the deli?
No.
A nice
But-
newbie steak.
But we get that. Yeah, I don't know if you ever get that Montreal meat. Sean, you guys get that?
Oh yeah, Montreal smoked meat. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
This sandwich sits about this thick, and then you got to push it down to get it in. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's the best. It's the
It
best.
is.
stuff.
Completely unhealthy for you, but so.
Oh,
See, I talk myself into being like, well, 90% of it is protein, and there's only a little bit of carb here, so that's a health meal right there. And that's how you end up looking like this, boys and girls.
Off,
Yeah. Brad will flick off the top piece of bread, and just be like,
mayo.
Open face.
all right, so even better. Brad brought up mayo. What's your trash condiment?
oh, it'd be mayo.
Mayo. Oh, fucking A.
Yeah.
Sean seems like he doesn't like mayo.
No, I do like mayo.
Do you? Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Jiffy Whip is not mayo. Miracle Whip is not mayo.
Bet money that Sean likes to mix it with ketchup.
It's not a lie.
Big thing. So Stan, in Holland, you made bio all right because like there's really no ketchup culture in Holland at all. That was the biggest shock to me. I had not seen Pulp Fiction at this point in my life when I went to Holland. I was not prepared.
Do you ever see cheese that big in your life?
No, also not a thing.
I'm not kidding you. They had cheese the size of a spare tire in the
Yeah.
window. And I thought, well, how do these people roll this home? Or how did they get this home even?
Yeah.
So big. And then, you know what? And they don't have any problem with cholesterol there. They have
None.
So
none.
crazy.
How much cheese can you eat and you not get cholesterol? I don't get that.
Well, it's like the Italians with their carb intake, right? Because they do eat a lot of pasta over there, right? It's not just all fish and meats. They do eat a lot of pasta, but somehow here in America, in North America, mainly the United States, like our carbohydrates just seem oblivious, like they just obliterate you. Where like Italy, you can eat a full plate meal of pasta and then go for a ride on a bicycle.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. Is
That's
they're
a
all
heritage week. That's what that is.
That's it.
same with the Dutch. They ride their bikes everywhere.
That's true. They don't take naps. No siestas in Holland.
No.
So this is why I don't believe you.
Beauty.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
why I
say
don't
hi to
believe you.
Stan.
Look at her. She's so cute. What?
Yeah.
Whatever it is for you.
He's a nightmare. The siren.
I can see in the eyes. You got real problems coming, Reed.
Yeah, believe me. I've already had problems. This is just another one of those problems.
You've had problems. You've got some problems.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Yeah. Hey, Stan, listen, I want to thank you so much for spending this time with us here.
That was great. You guys are all good guys, and I had a lot of laughs. It was great.
Oh,
It was a lot of fun.
You know, you're always welcome back on the show anytime.
Yeah.
And can I give a plug again for Pederix Martial Arts? I mean, I know right now you're doing private lessons. So please check out Pederix Martial Arts. You can find them on Facebook. Website. What's the website there, Stan?
info@PederixKickboxing.com.
Perfect. And phone number?
250-885-7441.
Listen, if you guys want some real lessons here, real martial arts lessons, some life lessons, things that's going to change you, please call this man. This man here is much more than just an instructor. This guy is also going to teach you some life lessons as well. Thank you.
Life coach territory for sure. I picked up a lot of stuff from the last podcast. Stan, I wasn't there, but it's one that I've actually listened to twice, and it wasn't because of these two bozos. I love you guys, but man, Stan hits us with the knowledge that gets us right. So
it's so good.
I appreciate you guys having me on. I really do.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime. And thank you. Perfect. All right. So I'm just gonna let you go here, Stan, so you can enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm gonna school these other guys here on some hockey afterwards. So
God.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day. Take care.
Bye,
Take it
Stan.
easy,
Be good,
Stan.
brother.
Bye-bye.
Oh man.
Sean, you really showed your ass there a couple of times, man. It's embarrassing.
Show my ass. What are
Hi,
you talking
Fiona.
about? What are you talking about? Hi.
Showing your ass. It's not a good thing. I know you think it's a good thing, but it's not a good thing.
What's this guy talking about?
Come on, you listen to enough hip hop to know what showing your ass means.
He knows that. He just doesn't think he did.
He's playing dumb.
listen.
Such a cool guy. Jesus Christ.
Stan's awesome. I can't believe he made this much time for us today. I'm super happy. You know, we were talking about his poor Canucks. His Canucks. So I don't know if you saw Montreal play two games pretty much on the same day, right? Because one of the games went to overtime and it went to 4 in the morning.
You keeping Brad on to talk hockey right now? You want to get
hey,
football?
whoa.
Football
We're
on the
gonna
way?
get into football. We're gonna get into football. I just want to talk about the Habs playing those two games there back.
The
to back.
Kraken haven't even hit the ice yet. Like,
Yeah, I know. That's when Brad's gonna
Fucked
start
up.
paying attention. But the thing is, though, is that right
I
now the
haven't
Leafs
paid
snapped.
attention a little bit. I realize that all I do is watch the Toronto line, so I can just say some things about them. And one of the-
So you do realize that
as vaunted as your first line is, they're pretty terrible when it comes to scoring goals, and they're not even in the top 10 on the way out.
who is this guy? Who is this guy?
I love how Brad's
What in the world?
Brad's spite watching hockey right now.
I
and
know.
I've never been more turned on in my life.
Just literally, I hate this game. I'm gonna watch this. Oh,
Just
they
to
really
shit on
stink.
Sean.
They stink.
Merely paying attention to one team, and it's in the absolute wrong way to do it.
Oh my gosh. All right. How much weight does the Chicago Bears, Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson to the Bears, trade rumors, how much weight does it hold there right now?
None.
You still think none? You just think it's a whole bunch of
None.
smoke?
Listen to me. Here's why. I think it would be an absolute possibility, except for the fact $39 million in dead money for the Seattle Seahawks. That is detrimental to what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
That's
There's no return on that whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. Russell Wilson at this point hasn't bent over a barrel, and that pretty much means he's not going anywhere.
Well,
right?
Yes and no, right? I think they play out this 1-year deal. I don't think they do really much of anything outside of it.
I'm talking about right now. Right
Yes.
now.
Yeah, it appears that way, right? And some of it's agent choice, and that's fine. But if this is next year, right?
Yeah.
It goes like if this whole story started in 22, he definitely gets traded.
Yeah. Which is just a fucking shame because I want to see Russell do 20 years in Seattle win a bunch of Super Bowls, and then bounce down to Tampa Bay and win one. So Brad knows how it feels.
It's been kind of going in my little Seahawks group fandom thread is there's two things, right? Is you have Tom Brady restructuring so that Tampa can pay for a defense. Which Brad hurt more than him going to Tampa in the first place. He was done for the last 10 years. Is he's done this deal, right?
I didn't think that's like you were with a chick for a while and she had that one thing that you liked or that one little outfit that you liked, and then you're like, oh, she wouldn't dare do that with anyone else. And then you see her in town and she's wearing that outfit. You're like,
what do you mean it's not?
Bitch, I thought that was special.
Yeah, you're not special. But then you see Patrick Mahomes also restructuring, right? So they can start paying some guys like.
Hey, he has to. He has to.
Get in there.
That is some grown man shit for a very young man.
Yeah.
And good on Patrick Mahomes. I know it's hard to not do that with Tom Brady literally beating you in the Super Bowl and showing you how it's done. With the restructuring.
Neither one of those guys, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, wants their cake and wants to eat it too. Russell is in a different camp. He wants his money now. And the thing is like we've heard years about Tom Brady is Tom Brady's opinion is as good. He is a team guy, right? But he's
can be
because he is taking less money for the benefit of the team. He's not. That money is getting pushed out future years. Right. And more is being guaranteed. He's making more money by taking less now. It's a great investment. Brilliant. And he looks like a good guy. And Russell's fatal flaw in this whole thing is going to be that his agent is only a baseball agent and only has one NFL client. And that's going to be the determining factor why this thing is going sideways.
Yeah, and baseball's all about get paid now, get paid as much as humanly possible.
Bobby Bonilla, but otherwise.
Yeah, I've been rewatching our list lately.
Yep.
Has everyone seen our list? Like I've been rewatching our list.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Russell Wilson would definitely be one of his clients, 100%.
It's a baseball, but they're a baseball negotiating tactics in the NFL world, and I don't know that it's going to work. I think it's going to be a rocky 2021 for Seattle. I think they'll put together a roster that's competitive as always.
Well, Carlos Dunlap's already gone. They already cut him. I mean,
they were going to cut him already.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And he could come back on a deal. Like that's just the thing. But if Russell really wanted to win, he'd restructure and free up some of that $39 million cap hit so they could pay the guys to protect him.
I think Russell will win the titles he's going to win when they're going to happen, regardless of what he does right now. I think Russell Wilson is doing the right thing ultimately. And I know it's the Happy bias. I know he's another Happy. I hate Patrick Mahomes, but he's a Happy, so I got to show him some love. But and Dak Prescott, don't get me started on that dummy's money. But Russell Wilson is really securing his legacy because his wife doesn't make the money that Giselle makes, So he's got to go out there and get his nut as soon as possible. Nobody's talking about Sierra anymore. I thought that was a male enhancement pill for the longest time, and because I forget
Cialis, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I forget those boyhood videos of her out there just looking like a snack.
Yeah, but you guys. So right now, New England signed or re-signed Cam Newton, and then there's rumors. Men. And then there's rumors about him being traded to San Fran for Garoppolo.
I hope to God that doesn't happen. That's how racist Boston, Massachusetts is. People don't realize how racist this city is in particular. I know they talk about Western Massachusetts being racist because they're all country bumpkins. They're the least racist. Boston, Massachusetts is the most racist place in the country, in my opinion, hands down. They won't say the N-word publicly, but they'll do some shit on re-signing Cam Newton, and then potentially they'll dream up this factory that Jimmy Garoppolo comes back because he's a handsome white kid, and it's gross. It's gross. Jimmy G is not an NFL starting quarterback.
Jimmy G is not one MVP.
Jimmy G is not an NFL starting quarterback, Sean.
It's not going to cost him $13 million if he has the best season of his career either.
Duh.
Yeah. I mean, to me,
the problem last year in New England was not Cam Newton.
No.
It was all the holdouts, all the vaginas who didn't want to do their GD job, which I get. I don't blame those guys. I get it, but they played the season, so I'm going to criticize them. And Cam Newton didn't have an off season, and he's coming from a completely different Ron Rivera and Bill Belichick are two very different coaches.
Well, so you have that, right? There's that. There's the fact that he didn't have an off season where he was completely healthy until the end. He made it through the year unscathed.
Unscathed.
He plays at a level we know Cam Newton can play at. $13 million is a bargain for that.
Which with quarterbacks, what they're getting these on these 1 year deals right now, that's no money.
Yeah,
It's no money. And
that's backup money.
dude, Adam Schefter just tweeted earlier this week the adjusted salary numbers
Yep.
for each team. The Patriots were like number 3 or number 4 on the list, number 4 highest
Yep.
on the list, which is pornographic. Cleveland Browns are number 1. That's a conversation for a different day, Sean. You guys are all jacked up.
What's wrong with Cleveland Browns? I missed this
You're-
year.
there's no way-
I've had to go and remove my old man bladder.
No way the adjusted salary should be as high as it is. 220 million, whatever it is. You guys don't.
Oh,
you guys don't.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
gross. But the thing that was more egregious, in my opinion, was the Patriots were in the top 5 of that adjusted. Where's that money going?
I don't know.
Are we still paying Tom Brady the nothing we were paying him in the first place?
They still had to pay some of that's.
Jamie Collins?
If I remember correctly, they still had to pay the players that opted out. They still got to. I mean, some level of
100%.
So I think some of that's there. We're having the more hold out. Got to be a little bit higher.
I think Bill made some bad deals on some certain players, but he's ultimately I think he's a net positive. And I'm not going to be the New England boy here who shits on Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick got us here. Bill Belichick's the reason that I'm still able to sit there and say I'm a Patriots fan with any level of pride.
They took a year off,
Six
but they
Super
took a year
Bowl.
off losing all those defensive starters
Yeah.
and then not
And-
having a wide receiver. They draft a wide receiver and they get their starters back on defense. And guess what?
That's exactly it. I
And
mean,
you got sexy ass Cam Newton under center.
give Cam Newton a whole entire preseason.
People are
and then
shitting
get
on it here, but Sean.
because they don't understand. They don't
everything.
understand.
There-
They don't
yeah, you're right. You're right. I should expect this, and I shouldn't be as reactive as I am. But it's so frustrating. Like I never thought that a talent
It's
like
no-
Cam Newton
yeah.
can come to Boston. Everyone will be like,
It's
"Oh,
amazing.
he's
It's
re-signing with
amazing.
us."
Listen,
Oh,
Massachusetts
it's so hard
is no
here.
different. Your Massachusetts media is no different than Toronto media, no different than Montreal media.
How
when
dare
it
you,
comes
first
to
of-
it
first-
is so true.
First of all, how dare you compare us to Toronto and Montreal? Because when I talk about worst fan bases, you'll notice I don't include Canada because you guys are all jacked up.
Yeah, we are. There's no way fans are butts
Amazing
about
to
that.
me, though, here's what's amazing to me is that the Patriots now have the best quarterback in the division, and they're getting fans are not happy.
Riddle me
Josh
that,
Allen.
Brad.
Josh Allen, what are you talking about? Brad, what are
What
you
I said.
talking about?
Dude, first of all, Sean, how many Super Bowls has Josh Allen been to?
Stop it.
How many MVPs has he won?
Stop it.
What's his
Stop it.
Nike?
Stop
What's his
it
Nike?
right there.
What's his Nike deal like?
Stop it
Or
right
does he have
there.
a bitch ass Reebok deal?
Stop
That's
it
what
right
I want to know. Because Cam
My
Newton
goodness.
has been selling sneakers and those
Why am I
cut
even
t-shirts
talking-
like
I don't even know why I'm
Got
friends with
drafted
you
lower
guys.
than any
Why am I
quarterback
friends with
in-
you guys? What's that? What's that?
Josh Allen was drafted lower than any quarterback in his division.
Oh, for crying out loud. Whatever. So people made mistakes. People can make mistakes.
look at poor Dak Prescott's draft class,
Yeah,
right? Like it's absurd. I'll shit on Dak Prescott all day, but do I think he deserves 95% of my shit? No, absolutely not. I couldn't hold a candle to that guy's asshole if I was paid $1 million to do
I
it.
think
Couldn't do it.
Dak Prescott gets more hate because of where he plays, and I also think that he doesn't
Yes.
get like that if he doesn't play if he plays somewhere else.
If they shut up about America's team shit, I think Seattle has more of a claim to America's team than than Dallas does. See, I'm throwing Dak in the Dallas.
We are going to get all sorts of shade for that comment. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
who, Sean? Who? It's not gonna be Martin. Martin agrees with me.
And Martin agrees with you. That's right.
Jeremy agrees with me as well.
Jeremy.
Who,
Yeah.
who,
yeah.
who
You know.
out of the 5 people who follow
Hey,
this page
Auntie
are gonna
T, you
shit
never
on me?
know. She could just sit there and just lose it. That's it. Auntie T could be losing it
Auntie
right
T
now.
agrees, and you know what? She's
Yeah.
liking this mustache.
She's
as
loving
much
that
as Nicole is.
mustache, and we're gonna have to.
All right, so for Nicole's sake, let's get this out of the way. I know Brad's got a dip. Nicole
Yeah.
wants me to keep the mustache because it reminds her of Freddie Mercury at Live Aid 1985.
Okay, roll it.
You should do what feels right, buddy. Do you want us to put it? You want us to put it out and vote on it, there, Reed? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what I was going to say, Sean. I just want to hear your thoughts. I'll give you the opportunity to mock me and ridicule because I feel ridiculous. I was shaving my face, and I always do this thing where for Adele, leave a mustache. But for some reason, she made a thing out of it yesterday. And here we are.
Thing. I shave it. I leave a mustache, but then I look like a Bollywood villain.
I know.
It never works out.
I know when. Yeah, you look like the bad guy in everybody.
I
know when Brad's doing some manscaping downstairs, he leaves a nice little tight V.
That's right.
I get it. You know, it's this thing where you're just like, let's fool around. You know, I've been walking around doing like Hulk
I don't
Hogan
understand
shit
what's
around
going
the house.
on with yours there because it's like
It's super blonde.
Yeah,
I was a blonde baby when I was a kid.
You know, like I don't understand what's going on with yours. It's not
I know I got the auburn hair and everything, but when I was a kid, I was a blonde baby.
I thought maybe you were going to go with handlebars, something like that. Do the old,
that's what I've been doing. The Hulk Hogan, I'm like, listen here, brother, and I Hulk out, and I'm just like, you know. And then,
Reed, real quick, who's the most influential wrestler?
Whoa, that was going to be my one-on-one question. You just took that right out.
Shut up, Sean. I'll get into it more. So last time when Sean and myself and Jeremy were on, Jeremy Hawks, shout out Jeremy, good dude, solid dude. He's actually a Browns fan, unlike this fucking this piece of POS. My kid's in the room. I can't swear. This POS imposter. I was saying Ric Flair was probably my favorite of all time, but I think the most influential is probably Macho Man Randy Savage.
What? There's nothing wrong with the Macho Man. That was one of the greatest promos I've ever seen with the cream always rises to the top.
Sean, you're trying to get me to do the voice. I'm not going to do the voice.
I do it.
Every time I hear somebody do it, I'm just like, I could throw that my hat in the ring. I'm not going to do it. But
snap into a Slim Jim.
He was in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Bonesaw.
Who else penetrated popular culture better than Macho Man Randy Savage with Slim Jim and the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man?
The Rock.
But we already talked about this. The Rock is standing on the shoulders of Hulk Hogan and Randy Montana.
Yeah, and frankly, The Rock has been
Flair.
The Rock has been a Hollywood liberal. Sorry, I was gonna go Steven Crowder on you guys here. Very political for a second. Didn't suit me, and I'm backing out. I don't have a gun holster on. But The Rock went hard Hollywood left on us pretty quickly, and that'll make you a lot of money. And I don't blame him again. What do you got to do? You gotta get paid, right? But The Rock, I kind of throw out. Macho Man Randy Savage on fifth, and even Hollywood Hulk Hogan had all the movies.
Yeah, he was great. But
he had the movies.
Ric Flair still transcends.
That seemed to be his demise.
Mr. Mom.
I mean, to me, Ric Flair is just that quintessential heel. But
Ric Flair was the greatest heel of all time.
Yeah,
he's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about most influential.
You
love Josh Allen. He's not a good quarterback, but you still love him.
All right. Wait, Brad. I'm not sure who your most influential wrestler is.
I think it's Hulk Hogan. I think he's the one that got us all inspired on it and went mainstream.
No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, if you ask me, like most influential, moved the most.
Yep.
Particles.
Who moved the needle the most to bring WWF to its top of the hype fandom? For me, it's
absolutely.
Probably right.
I'm not gonna disagree with you, but for me,
you did earlier. So
stop,
Sean. You take bad positions all the time.
Stop.
Thank God you're not allowed to play the stock market because you're on the FBI's no-fly list. Just because of how you look and the shirt you're wearing right now. There's a lot. You're problematic, as the kids would say these days.
Problematic, yeah.
Oh, you're problematic in a lot of ways.
You're sus, as the kids would say these days.
What's that? What would the kids say there, Brad? What was that?
Sus.
Yeah, what's that? What's that game called? Yeah, Sean.
Clue?
No, not Clue. You're sus even in clue terms.
Yeah.
But the kids have this game.
You're
It's about
Colonel,
space
you're Colonel
guys.
Mayonnaise in the kitchen with a breadstick is what you are.
Colonel Mayonnaise in the kitchen. I love Colonel Mayonnaise. Can we keep that recurring?
Yes.
Can we, Sean?
I
You
know
need
what-
to. You,
all right.
you need to put that in your Facebook name.
That's
On your
fine. Colonel
profile.
Mayonnaise.
Colonel
So
Mayonnaise.
go in. Just to appease you two gentlemen, that's not a problem.
Colonel Mayonnaise. I like
Nevertheless,
that a
though,
lot.
listen. When I was a kid, I loved Hogan. Hogan was the most influential person.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Okay.
personality.
When I was a
screams
kid.
you grew up on
Absolutely.
Hogan.
Absolutely. Then
Brad and I were elevated. We had other wrestlers that we had
Then
our
Bret the
lives,
Hitman
so-
Hart, because I was Canadian and he was the best.
my
There,
God.
best there was, the best there ever will be. But when I got introduced to Ric Flair,
Where
was
did Shawn
it
Michaels?
over. It was over at that
Hold
point.
on. Where did Shawn Michaels come in?
Shawn Michaels never even registered for me.
Shut the fuck up, Brad.
Never even
this is,
registered
this is
for
why
me.
I know he's a scumbag liar. You just made me
Never
swear
even-
in front of my kid, Sean.
Never even registered.
Listen here, brother. Okay, we got a real problem. So you used to sit on watch in my watch section, underway, and you'd be like, "They think I'm cute.
Mm,
You know I'm sexy."
I like the song. I don't like
you
the
used
guy.
to sing it
Yeah.
for hours.
I'm just a sexy boy.
sexy boy. He's
I'm not your boy
to the
toy.
point where Sean, and I'll show my ass here myself. I never watched professional wrestling to the point where I would know that song. The only reason I know that song, Brad, is because I used to by federal law, I had to listen to this dummy sing it for hours on watch. We're in the middle of the South China Sea. Like at any point, we could be downed by an enemy submarine torpedo, and I the last thing I would hear is, "I'm just a sexy boy, sexy." He was dancing. We put him on the foreigner stack way at the end, where he couldn't do any damage to national security. Everybody at home, go back to sleep. It's safe. We put these
Reed had the watch.
knuckleheads. Yeah, I was covering it. CYA. I was covering the CHS, covering his ass. But he'd be down there singing this song over and over and over again. I didn't know what it was at first, Brad. You know, I'm
you're a
setting
liar.
up-
You're a liar right now.
I'm not lying. I had no idea what that song was at first. Where I'm just like, I'd be sitting there, I'd be on the treadmill, like, listening to Queens of the Stone Age, like, yeah, no one knows. They think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. Sexy boy.
I got
Sexy
the
boy.
moves.
That all the ladies love. You know, how did I know the dance, Sean?
I know how you knew the dance. You've all do the dance.
Because Dum Dum over there would sit there for literally. There was one point I think when Sean was on one of our deployments, we were doing 12-hour watches. This crazy mofo would do 9.5 hours of Shawn Michaels nonsense. So, Sean, it's messed up that you say you're not a Shawn Michaels fan.
I'm not. I hugely.
Sandwich.
Oh
Brad's
my
got to get his
gosh.
mayonnaise sandwich. So now we can talk some hockey.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, fellas.
Oh,
Mount,
all right.
until next week, you're gonna be good at it. You guys, we'll talk soon.
Brad, you're always
Absolutely.
handsome. Love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Reed, thank you for spending your Saturday with us, buddy. And
It was a big sacrifice.
Yeah, looks like it.
Just sitting there. Yeah, I've been putting out here like
You got to jump on the spin back there and take a lap around the
Oh,
block.
you see the butt end? I left it just the butt end, so you
I
pick
love
up
it.
on that.
I love it.
I'm bringing sexy back.
I love it. Oh,
yes,
JT there. Okay.
Jay Tizzle, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hey, righto. All right, boys.
Yeah.
Take it easy. We'll talk again.
Jeez.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Get all of our info at guysbeersports.com, where you can find all the ways to connect with us. Watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, and join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments with your own uploaded videos, or even join us as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.
Recording.
Like this? Yeah, like this. Because you know what? Your Boston Bruins suck. No, they don't. I can't wait. I mean, honestly, I'm nervous.
God.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous to face the Bruins. I'm nervous to face the Bruins in the playoffs.
Now, is this Sean the Maple Leafs fan? Or is this Sean the Winnipeg
the Maple
Jets
Leafs.
fan?
The Maple
Or
Leafs fan.
Sean the
Get
San
out
Jose
of here.
Sharks
Come on.
fan?
You know this.
How many NHL teams do you have?
Only have one. Only have
Only
one.
have
NHL team.
one. Whoa.
Yeah. Remember on the sale, and I was looking up because I was going to Victoria. And
I don't like how you put it in the Canadian way to me just now.
What do you mean?
Underway, my friend. Underway. I don't like sale.
We
Because
were
it sounds like
underway.
something that happens at
Yeah.
Target on Black Friday.
So we were
Country than I am, for
No,
sure.
I thought they're Jersey fans, man. They're just cheer.
Well,
for
whatever.
Pennsylvania team.
They're down in that region where I'm like, ugh. Do they have running water? I'm from Massachusetts. We look down on everybody.
What are you
but
talking
like-
about? Jersey as running. What are we talking about?
Oh, Jersey? I don't know what the fuck's going on in Jersey. It's the Garden State.
Bon
yeah.
Jovi.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, but he's like, little ditty about Jack and Diane, two Yankee kid, do the best they can. Come on.
Yo. First off, that's John Cougar Mellencamp. That's not
What?
even
Same
no,
shit.
That's not the same shit. John Cougar
Wanted,
Mellencamp.
dead or alive.
Okay, that's